Cycling is my big passion, and over the past 10 years I purchased over 10 bicycles, and so today I want to share with you what I have learned so you can save some money and don't repeat my mistakes. Behind me you see my very first gravel bike. It's a Cannondale Slate. Cannondale had this idea of mixing road bike, gravel bike or all-road bike and calling it starting with a fresh slate. There's a bunch of things I've learned with this bike. I would never ever again buy a Cannondale. It's not the only one I have, but I wouldn't do it again, and here's why. First of all, they use like parts, sometimes proprietary parts that are very specific to Cannondale. So here, for example, I tried to change the gears because it came with a setup that is awesome if you race super strong, but road bike racing. Like none of the new gravel bikes of Cannondale's had that kind of gear setup than this one. So they sold me an oval basically chain ring. It didn't work, it scratched here. I had to go back, change this again, and so it was one forward and backwards. Where with my road bike that I show you later that has standard Shimano, I just ordered a new Shimano chainring, installed, it was done basically in 10 minutes. So for me, I would never ever again buy a bike that has anything but Shimano. I would throw SRAM in there. Personally, I'm a Shimano guy because for the hydraulic brakes, Shimano uses mineral oils, which is easier to handle. Whereas SRAM has like all these warning labels, don't put it in your eyes, use plastic gloves and all kinds of things. And that just seems like, yeah, you know what, here's an alternative from Shimano that has mineral oil, nothing matters, I can use my hands, no gloves, and go from there. Another bad benefit about the Cannondale lefties, even though you could say they're stylish, they're cool, is there's almost no accessories. So finding mud guards, and here in the Pacific Northwest I ride a lot in mud, there's nothing to put it on. After years of scouring the internet, I found this company from Germany who produces these adapters, but it's like I think an individual, that you basically can put in here, and then you can use a standard SKS, I think it's shock blade called, that you can basically easily install and not, but you do need this adapter. And so after having two Cannondale bikes, I can say it's way too hard to find accessories. It's way too hard to find something simple like a smaller chainring, where other bikes that I have that have just traditional Shimano setup, it's not a problem whatsoever. Another important tip I have for you is to always buy used bikes. Bikes have a huge write-off in the beginning, just like cars, unless you have some fancy Santa Cruz model, but most other bikes really do have a big write-off. There's a website, I'm gonna link it down below, where you see like the Blue Book prices for bicycles. You can search it on the web or just look in the description. But this bike here is one that I found on Facebook Marketplace. That person taught me a lot. When I came there and asked why he's selling it, he said, because it doesn't fit him well. And I'm like, what you mean? And he's like, he's just not getting warm with the bike. So he encouraged me and even planned a tour for me for like 20-30 minutes. I didn't tour it the whole time, but to really take it for a ride to see if it works for me. I'm now a big believer in road bike with discs. I wasn't always, but when I came here, my very first road bike didn't have disc brakes because I thought, why pay $400 extra? We never had discs on road bikes. Now, I felt the difference because I had the gravel bike that it just showed you from Cannondale that has disc brakes, that when you are on the heavier side like myself, and there's a lot of hills and a lot of dirt and a lot of water or wetness, then disc brakes will make all the difference. So I changed my road bike to one with discs. Love it. And this one happened to come with electronic shifters, which I wasn't a believer in before I had it either, but this person basically made that upgrade himself to Shimano Di2. Now I love the electronic shifting, yet unlike the disc brakes, I wouldn't say this is a must-have. I know that some very athletic people that sprint, they like that they don't have to move the whole breaker to kind of like shift, and it's just a tibia and tabby and you kind of go. But personally, for me, and I rode almost 4,000 miles last year, that doesn't make a difference. If it happens to have, or if you have the budget, go for it. But the disc brakes is something that I wasted a lot of money by buying one with rim brakes and then basically swapping that one out, selling that with a loss, and buying a new bike that has discs. And so definitely would go with disc brakes. So this was my very first track bike. I haven't had any experience, but my road bikes, because I originally come more from the mountain biking side, were always kind of like what I would consider entry level at the $1,000 mark, between $900 to $1,100. But that's without disc brakes, just FYI. And so now during the pandemic, when everybody picked up bike riding, also the prices went up. And so this was actually more on the expensive side, in that $1,200 range. But they did change that now you don't even have Shimano 105 components on it. It's like a few levels, I think 2 levels below Shimano 105. It's called, what is it called? Sure, it's Claris, Shimano Claris. I thought, like it should be a good beginner bike, it should be all well, but it did not fit me. With this bike, I felt like I was glued to the ground. You can't interchange any components. If you have Shimano 105, you can switch to Ultegra, like a single component, both components. And it's easy to swap out. Here, not at all. So this is usually my rain weather bikes. There is, as I mentioned, a lot of rain and during winter. So I have one bike that is fully with mudguards installed. And here is an important thing. If you have a bike that you look to use as that bad weather bike, make sure it has these nut bolts here and is not on the axle from the hub basically installed, but has a separate hole where you installed it. I had the very first bike with the rim brakes. It was basically on the axle, and the problem with that was that every time you had to change a flat, you had to take the axle off. There were little discs that fall off, then you have to search disc pieces, and it's super annoying to basically change the flat and put it back on. So when you look for a bad weather bike that has mudguards or your commuter, make sure it has those prefabricated holes that are intended to install mudguards. You'll be grateful. And I believe this bike, I could have saved that money if I would have taken it for a serious test ride. But I really wanted to reach my 4,000 miles. I really wanted to go ride regardless of the weather, so I bought it. It's basically just a few months old, and now in spring I sell it, while I have replaced it with a other bike that is in that Shimano 105. It's going to be more expensive. So this is what I replaced my bad weather bike with this year. Now this one, you see, I went and I said to the store I want one with those extra anchor points for the mudguards so that it doesn't have to be drilled in. And another tip I would give you is, like, if you are buying drink bottle holders, don't spend money in the store for like carbon looking ones. Buy them on Amazon. They're super cheap. In the store they can go up to $50, and that, quite frankly, is just not worth it. And so, important to notice, if you're new to the bike riding community, welcome. And don't worry, you don't have to buy that many bikes as I did. There's a lot of great videos. I also will link a video from Park Tool. Their YouTube channel has a lot of great repair and maintenance tips for bike. I use it regularly. But if you were to ask me, okay, you only have budget for one bike, which bike is it? And my tip would be a gravel bike. Now, it doesn't have to be the Cannondale Slate. There is great other bikes. Again, I would make sure just Shimano components, so I can swap things out, upgrade it, change it, a huge ecosystem around it. But I would go with a gravel bike, because a gravel bike allows you to do most trails, and it allows you also to go on the road. You could easily swap the tires or get a second set of wheels with like faster tires on for those summer rides. But that basically gonna allow you to cover the most ground. Now, if you're close to a mountain, or you are knowing you want to do mountain biking, then obviously go with a mountain bike. But a mountain bike is gonna be much harder if you have friends at work that want to take you, let's say, on a 30-40 mile stroll, and you try to keep up with the much smaller, thinner tires that they have at an average speed between 18 to, let's say, 20 miles per hour. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, again, I'm in a situation where I didn't buy all these bikes in 1 year. They're over 10 years. The Cannondale bike is quite a few years old now, 7-8 years. But if you maintain a bike, it's gonna be good for a long time. The point is, start with that one bike. I commute to work, So that's why I had an e-bike for a while, because I had a longer ride and I didn't want to have to shower there. So I used the e-bike. I'm selling this also this spring, but all these bikes came together over a decade. My mountain bike, that's from Switzerland. That's the one I ride the least because it's the most effort. I have to load it to the car, drive somewhere, then go mountain biking and come home. Where the road biking, basically I can start from the house and that's it. And because I do ride 3 to 4 times a week, I do enjoy to have a full, let's say, bad weather bike and the nicer road bike for those sunny days that we all love in Seattle. But you don't need it all at once. So now, get a bike, whatever it is. If you just buy one bike, again, my tip would be go with a gravel bike that just has Shimano components like the one behind me. All Shimano, easy for me to swap things out. That bike I could use for commute, on gravel routes, on trails, and I just put different tires on if I want to go in the summer really fast, and it's easy also to take the mud guards off. So this would be a great all-around bike. But regardless of what you get, most important is get on a bike, go out there and ride on, and I hope, who knows, maybe our paths will cross.